Two parents, one decision. A child who has no vote in it. They walk into a campus. They see a swimming pool, a smart board, a banner of toppers smiling at the gate. And in that 1 hour, they decide where their child will spend the next 12 years. I have sat in hundreds of these rooms, admission counters, prospectus in hand, a sales pitch running, and I've almost never heard a parent ask the question that actually matters. Does this school know what to do with a child who cannot see the blackboard? Does this school know what to do with a child who cannot climb to a classroom on the second floor? Does this school know what to do with a child who is a genius on the football field and average in mathematics? Because a school that has never had to answer these questions has never actually been tested. I am Ravi Santlani, and this is the Education Verdict. Straight questions, real answers, no fluff. Brought to you by ScooNews, India's leading education media network. Today, we are talking about how parents choose schools for their children. Not because parents are careless, because parents today have more information than any generation before them. Websites, drone videos, ranking lists, WhatsApp groups full of opinions. And still, with all of that, many are choosing a school the way they would choose a hotel. Let me name a few. You will recognize some. The brand name, chosen to impress a relative at a wedding. The infrastructure, chosen because it photographs well. Nobody asks who is actually teaching inside that building. The peer group, chosen because a colleague's child already studies there. The board, chosen for prestige, not for whether it fits this particular child. The marketing, a glossy prospectus and an admission counselor who sounds more like a salesperson than an educator. And, of course, the topper wall, which tells you about 10 children who topped and says nothing about the other 2,000. Now, let me tell you what an informed parent actually checks. Start with the alumni, not where they got placed in year 12, where they are 10 years later. Did this school produce a mark sheet or a human being who knows what he wants from his life? Go online and search for that school's own students speaking unscripted on YouTube. Not the promotional video the school made. The video a student made on their own channel 5 years ago when nobody was watching and nobody was paying them to say something nice. That is the most honest review you will ever find. Ask about clubs, a debate club, a robotic club, a theatre group, a nature club, an entrepreneurship cell. A school with a rich club culture is a school that believes a child is more than a mark sheet. Ask if skill and competency actually live inside the curriculum or only inside a poster in the corridor. Is a child taught to think, to build, to question, or only to memorize and reproduce? And ask this one directly. If your child is an outstanding athlete or a gifted musician or a young coder building something real, will this school bend its own timetable to protect that gift? Or will it force your child to choose between the exam and the talent, as if a child can only be one thing? A school that forces that choice has already told you who it is. Now, I want to ask you the one question I believe matters more than any other. Ask the school how many children with disabilities are currently enrolled there. Listen carefully to the answer. If the answer is none, my answer for you is no. The law of this country gives every child with a disability the right to sit in a mainstream classroom, besides every other child, learning the same lesson in the same room. A school that has not made room for that child has not been tested on the one thing that actually reveals its character. Because it is easy to be a good school when every child in the room learns the same way, at the same pace, in the same shape. The real school reveals itself the day a child walks in who needs the world to bend a little. An inclusive school does something more than admit that child. It notices what that child can do and builds a stage for it. Every child has an ability hiding somewhere. A good school's job is to find it and help it shine. That is not charity. That is not kindness as decoration. That is the actual job of a school. One more test, and it is a quiet one. Walk through the corridor and watch how a teacher is spoken to by the leadership of that school. A school that does not respect its own teachers will never teach a child to respect anyone. If the school believes in experiential learning, learning by doing, not only learning by writing or memorizing, community service that is real, not a photograph for the annual newsletter. And watch one small thing closely. How does a student address the support staff of that school? If a child calls the person who serves lunch or sweeps the corridor or guards the gate, sir or ma'am, that single word will tell you more about that school's character than any ranking ever will. That is the dignity of labor taught not in a classroom, but in a hallway every single day. So here is what I want you to carry into your next school visit. Ask about the alumni, not the marks, the lives. Search for the unscripted student voice on YouTube before you trust the school's own video. Ask about clubs and whether skill sits inside the curriculum or only on a wall. Ask if a gifted athlete or artist would be protected here or forced to choose. Ask how many children with disabilities are enrolled, and let that answer decide everything. And watch how the support staff of that school are spoken to and addressed. A school is not a hotel. Your child is not a guest passing through. Choose the way you would choose a home. Choose the place that will bend for your child, not the one that will bend your child to fit itself. I am Ravi Santlani. This is The Education Verdict. Straight questions, real answers, no fluff. Brought to you by ScooNews, India's leading education media network. I'll see you next Friday.